Feel like you're being pulled in 1,000 directions? Let's fix that. Download your free rebalancing toolkit and learn how to design an optimized week that lets you feel like you have it all. Get the goods at brilliantbalance.net/have-it-all.
I'm Cherylanne Skolnicki, and this is Brilliant Balance, the show for working women who are ready to shine. Each week, I bring you ideas, inspiration, and insight on balance, business, and getting it all done gracefully. You ready? Let's be brilliant. Hello and welcome. You're listening to episode 38 of the Brilliant Balance podcast. And today we are talking about how to feel more calm and more in control. Who's with me, right? Who has been wanting that? I think it's a pretty common holy grail type of desire for the working moms I know. And before we get into this, I want to tell you, it's one that I understand deeply and personally. I've had kind of a wild week this week as we head into recording here, and I have not exactly been feeling calm or in control. Lots of things have been happening, some related to the business, some personally. There's just kind of been one of those surges that are prone to come in life. And I will tell you unapologetically, I lost my flow. I lost my focus for a period of time during this week, maybe week and a half. The good news is that I know how to get it back now. I know how to get it back fairly quickly. I know exactly which levers to pull. And that's the power that I want you to have. I want you to know that it's normal to get tipped out of control, to feel not so calm, from time to time. The key is knowing what can you do to get back to a state where you do feel a sense of power. You feel a sense of control. You feel the ability to touch and tap that inner calm when you need it, right? Even after you've maybe lost it temporarily. And it really matters. Because when I cross paths with women, whether I'm speaking at an event or whether they're attending a webinar that I teach or whether they're in our Facebook group, one of the things that I hear all the time, it is predictable. When you say to women, how do you want to feel? Some of the words that surface immediately are, I want to feel more peaceful. I want to feel more calm. They'll say, I want to feel at ease or present, fully present. And ultimately, I want to feel in control. I want to feel like I'm in the driver's seat of my life. So there's a model that I want to introduce to you today that's really designed to give you that feeling, how to feel, to tap that sense of being calm or being in control whenever you need it. And in order to do that, you have to feel a sense of agency, right? That's a word we don't use every day, but so maybe think of it as personal power over your life. And if you are walking around feeling like you have no control over your life, or like everything is happening to you, then it stands to reason that you're not going to feel very calm. You're going to feel like you're being pulled along and probably not in the direction that you want to go. And a whole series of feelings and emotions can follow that when we really feel a sense of powerlessness. So I want to talk first about how do we get this cycle going, all right? And in order to kind of introduce this model, I want you to visualize a series of arrows sort of going around in a circle. Okay, there's 4 points on this circle that we're going to label, and we're going to talk about each one of them. So the first point is belief. Beliefs lead to thoughts. Thoughts, if you follow the circle around, lead to actions. Actions lead to results, and the results then reinforce beliefs or create new ones. Okay, so beliefs, thoughts, actions, and results. This is all a mindset model. Some people attribute this to Gandhi, some to Lao Tzu. They're very wise, very well-known philosophers who have really codified this model. And so I want to break it down for you and help you understand, first of all, why does it matter so much? And then we're going to kind of take this model piece by piece so that you can adopt it and see what kind of results you can get with it. All right. The point overall, I think, is that your mindset sitting at the center of that circle is actually pretty fragile, or maybe volatile is the right word. Left unchecked, your thoughts can run wild. And those thoughts, as we stated in the model, are really governed by your beliefs. So if you think about meditation and what sometimes is called the monkey mind, this notion that your thoughts are everywhere and they're constantly running through your head, a lot of those thoughts are not necessarily constructive, right? A lot of the thoughts, if we were able to tape record all the thoughts running through your head all day, it's amazing how many of them are not very helpful, right? They're actually pulling us away from what we want most, or they're arguably destructive, all right? So when you want to really have a different set of results in your life, we need to unwind that and start to get some sense of control over the thoughts that are running through your head. But you can't start there, right? There's a starting point that goes one step further back from that. And we're going to start with belief today. So I'm going to tell you this too. All of this mindset work, if you're kind of like rolling your eyes and saying, whatever, I want a practical tip on getting more done in the day. This mindset work is 100% at the foundation of your ability to get the results you want in your life. That's exactly why in my coaching program, which we call Breakthrough, in Breakthrough, we are working with really high achieving women who are trying to figure out, how are they going to get their life to the next level? How are they going to be clear about what they really want and then actually go make that happen, with sustained effort? We start with a mindset practice. We call that whole phase, get your head in the game. And it's so important to me personally. I have several accountability systems in place to protect it in my own life. And it is the very first thing we teach inside of my coaching program. The idea is to get you living in the headspace of the person who you are becoming, not in the headspace of the person you used to be, carrying a lot of that with you, or even necessarily in the headspace of the person you currently are. You want to essentially step into the mindset of the person who you are becoming, because it's very powerful to sit in the energy of who you want to be. That's what lets you normalize a set of thoughts and behaviors that really support your journey toward the future that you want. And it all starts with beliefs, okay? So let's get into the first point here, which is that belief drives thought. And I'm going to use one example as we roll through this because I think it'll just make it simpler to understand if we're sticking with one pattern of belief and thought. So let's imagine that you have the belief that there's not enough time to get everything done. You don't have enough time to get everything done. Now, before we get one step further, something in you might be saying, well, that's not a belief, that's a fact. But it's not a fact. Okay, a fact is there are 24 measured hours in a day, or there are 7 days in a week, or there are 60 minutes in an hour. Those are facts. The belief that there is not enough time to get, or the statement that there is not enough time to get everything done is a belief. Some people believe there is enough time. This is a malleable belief, okay? If you have the belief there's not enough time to get everything done, what are some of the thoughts that might be running through your head over and over again? Well, there's a lot of them. That underlying belief can have a whole series of thoughts, but one of them might be, I'll never get caught up. I will never get to the bottom of this pile. I will never get it all done, right? If you have a belief that there's not enough time, the thought can be, I don't have enough time. I'll never be caught up. I need more time. Those phrases can run on repeat in your head. And what do those thoughts do? Well, those thoughts drive actions. So if the thought that's running through your head is, I can't get caught up, I don't have enough time, I'm so behind, right? If those thoughts are constantly running through your head, what's an action that you might take? I'm going to stay up late and try to get caught up. I'm going to stay up late tonight and I'm going to try to catch up.
Feel like you're being pulled in 1,000 directions? Let's fix that. Download your free rebalancing toolkit and learn how to design an optimized week that lets you feel like you have it all. Get the goods at brilliantbalance.net/have-it-all.
So The thought, I'll never get caught up, is like, well, I'm going to try. And the way I'm going to try is I'm going to stay up late tonight and try to get caught up on some of this backlog. So that action drives a predictable result. It may or may not be the result you want. So let's say you take the action and you stay up until, 1 o'clock in the morning, and you're working on your computer and you're sitting on the couch. What is the result? One of the results might be you get a few things done, right? You knock some things off your list, and that is like the little drug that feels so good that holds out this little sliver of belief that this strategy might actually work. But what are some of the other results? You fall asleep on the couch. Maybe at 4 o'clock in the morning, you finally drag yourself upstairs to bed. Maybe not. Maybe you wake up on the couch. Then you're exhausted because you haven't had enough sleep because it was 6 o'clock in the morning and you had to get going. And then you have a foggy head. That's a result. You have no focus as you head into your morning at work or wherever you are. Your energy is low, right? Your appetite is probably out of control because you are not rested. And so anything looks good at that point. So if you think about those results, there's one good one in there. I got some things done. But there were a lot of other results that may have been unintended consequences. All right. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I'm foggy. I don't have any focus. My energy is low. And you're going into the next day with that basket of results, under your arm. Well, then what happens? Those results on that wheel reinforce belief. So when you go into the next day and you're tired and you're not getting anything done, you're foggy, what's the belief that you're going to underline? There's not enough time to get everything done, right? So we're in this vicious cycle of the belief drove a thought pattern. Those thoughts reached a tipping point that caused us to take an action, like staying up late. The action had a whole host of results, not just the one we wanted, but a bunch of other ones. And those results put us in the cycle of reinforcing that same belief. So because it's a circle, it chases its own tail, right? You are going to get positive or negative momentum from the cycle that you're in. So the only way to break the cycle is to start with the belief, to change the belief that's driving your thoughts, that therefore will drive your actions, that therefore will drive your results. Right? You have to sort of unwind this thing and get it going in the opposite direction. So here's an alternative belief. I have all the time I need to do the most important things. I have all the time I need to do the most important things, right? Or I've been given enough time. Or everyone has the same amount of time. These are all beliefs that are alternatives to there's not enough time to get everything done. So let's work with I have all the time I need to do the most important things. What kind of thoughts might that reframe start to instigate? One of them that comes up for me right away is, what are the most important things? So I'm instantly, by adopting that belief, starting to ask myself a new question. Not how can I get more done, but what are the most important things? That's a new thought that wasn't in the first pattern that we discussed. Well, if I'm asking myself what are the most important things, what are some of the actions that we might take? Well, we might journal to get that clarity, right? We might have a conversation with somebody we love to get that clarity. And then ultimately the actions we might take are to line up our time with the things we've deemed most important. Because guess what? When you're getting the most important things done, you actually do feel like you have enough time. Because the rest of it, you're pretty clear, just doesn't matter. You don't feel so guilty and yucky and unproductive about not getting it done because you've already made choices about the essentials. And that action of making those choices about where you're really going to invest your time and doing it, right, drives a different kind of result. It drives a sense of satisfaction. It drives the ability to close up your desk at the end of the day and say, that's enough for today. I know what I'm going to do tomorrow, right? It drives you to make choices to spend time with people that you care about because they're on the most important list. And I'll tell you what, when you have those results, when you take those actions and you get that positive hit of, I think I'm doing this right. I think I've got my life allocated to the people and the activities that I care about the most. then you get a positive reinforcement of that belief that you have exactly the right amount of time. You have all the time you need for the things that are most important, right? So there's a reinforcement of that core belief. Now, I mentioned at the beginning of this episode that you can fall out of this cycle. I absolutely fell out of this cycle, in the last week or so, because what happens is when the surges come in, your core beliefs get shaken, especially if they're new ones that you're trying to adopt. And the way through that is to anchor in to the set of beliefs that serves you. Okay, so I told you I was going to give you a strategy for what do you do when you start to come untethered? You go right back to the beliefs. So for me, it's very helpful to have those written down where I have the place that I can go to them. And for me, it's actually important to look at them every single day. So every day when I'm reading to myself, this is what I believe, right? These are the statements of mindset patterns that I want to be in. Any dissonance that starts to creep up, like if my behavior the day before was out of alignment with that, I'm instantly aware of it. Because when you anchor yourself into that set of beliefs repetitively, when you do it with regularity, that is something that actually allows you to keep your head in the game. Okay, so you're less likely to get pulled away into thought patterns that don't serve you. You're less likely to take actions that don't serve you, and you're less likely to have results that are moving you in the opposite direction of your dreams. The next time you find yourself feeling like I'm totally out of control, I don't feel calm, the things that I'm doing today are making me feel crazy, I don't feel productive, I don't feel that sense of accomplishment, then I want you to pause and come back to what is the thought that's running through your head. What is being said to you over and over again? You're not smart enough. You're doing this wrong. You're such a mess. You're not a good mother. What are the things that are running through your head as thoughts? And then what is the belief that you need to reset to shut down that thought pattern? And you will immediately feel a sense of calm. And then that gives you back that ability to be in control of, okay, now I'm going to choose the actions that I'm taking with a higher standard. Right? I'm going to choose them against this new belief that I've adopted. This is really powerful. And I'm going to tell you this, it doesn't come overnight. So you're not going to wake up today and, put this into practice and feel like, wow, I got it right away. If you've never really thought about this before, it's going to take a little time of playing with this model. But where it really begins is paying attention to what are the results that you don't like, in your life? And then how do you unwind it backwards to change the actions? If you're struggling to change the actions, look for what are the thoughts that are driving your actions. And if the thoughts are seeming not to be helpful, you got to go all the way back to a new belief pattern. Okay, cool. Give it a shot. I'm really anxious to hear how this works for you in your life. Now, I want to transition to the next show. I always like to give you a little preview of coming attractions here. So the next show is set up for those of you who work for a company or an organization that has really high expectations of you. I have an insight I want to share that I think can really help you as you try to find, your own balance amid the demands of the company and your colleagues and your bosses. So that'll be a good one for you if you are working in one of those environments. Until then, come join me in the Brilliant Balance group on Facebook. Just go into Facebook, search groups, and then Brilliant Balance. That's the full name of the group. You'll find us. We'll welcome you in and you can see what's going on over there. We've got a lot of women having a really robust dialogue about all things balance. And also make sure you've grabbed your free rebalancing toolkit. That's at brilliantbalance.net/have-it-all. We'd love to get that into your hands so you can start applying some of the principles that we share here and in the Facebook group and on our website as well. So I look forward to seeing you next time. Until then, let's be brilliant.
This is the podcastfactory.com.